All right, let's dive into the world of bedtime meditations. We got a ton of requests from you all about this, so we're going deep on an article called 9 Relaxing Bedtime Meditations to ease you into a peaceful sleep.
That sounds super relatable. I think we all crave better sleep.
You're telling me, right?
Yeah.
So it looks like our listeners are really curious about not just like the step-by-step of how to meditate, but also the why, the science of how it all works and what kind of techniques work best for different situations.
Well, I'm happy to report there's a lot more science behind it than people realize. The research on how meditation actually impacts sleep is pretty fascinating.
That's what we like to hear, real evidence. So let's jump right in. The article throws out a pretty startling stat that something like 50% of people struggle with sleep regularly. Yikes. But hey, also, if you're in that 50%, you're not alone.
Right. And knowing how widespread this issue is really underscores how valuable meditation could be. I mean, it's not some magic cure-all, but it can be a serious game changer for a lot of people.
So let's get into the nitty-gritty. When we meditate before bed, what's actually happening in our brains and bodies? Like, how does it actually help us sleep?
Okay, so think of melatonin, right? That's your body's natural sleep switch. And meditation is like flipping that switch on.
Okay, makes sense.
And there's more. It also boosts serotonin, which is what your body uses to make melatonin. So you're getting this double whammy of sleepiness.
A double dose.
Yeah.
Nice. So it's like this chain reaction that sets the stage for, hopefully, a great night's sleep.
Exactly. And beyond hormones, meditation really chills out your nervous system, slows down your heart rate. It's essentially mimicking what your body does naturally as you drift off to sleep.
So it's like a dress rehearsal for your brain, getting everything in the right zone.
Exactly.
But I'm guessing it probably works best when combined with good sleep hygiene in general, right? Like, consistent sleep schedule, avoiding screens before bed, all that good stuff.
Oh, for sure. You're spot on. You can't underestimate the power of a sleep-conducive environment. No amount of meditation is going to fully counteract an erratic sleep schedule or staring at your phone all night. You got to set yourself up for success.
Okay, that makes sense. But sometimes, let's be real, it's our own minds that are the biggest obstacle to sleep, Like as soon as your head hits the pillow, all those worries and to-dos start swirling around.
Oh, tell me about it. It's like our brains save up all the day's anxiety just for bedtime.
Seriously. So how can meditation help us tame that mental chatter? What does the article suggest?
Well, it highlights a few different techniques, but two that really stand out for calming that inner storm are gratitude practice and affirmations.
Okay, I can see how that would be helpful. So instead of dwelling on what's stressing you out, you're consciously choosing to end the day on a positive note.
Exactly. And another technique, super simple but super powerful, is deep breathing. It's basically like hitting the pause button on your stress response. You're signaling to your nervous system, hey, time to chill out.
Deep breaths, check. Simple but effective. What else stood out to you from the article?
Well, it also really emphasizes that sometimes you gotta let the emotions surface, Even if that means having a good cry. It's about acknowledging and processing those feelings instead of trying to bottle them up.
That's an interesting point. It's like creating space to release the tension, even if it gets a little messy.
Exactly. And no matter what technique you're using, the key is consistency. Building a regular bedtime meditation practice is what's going to lead to real, lasting benefits.
It's like anything else, right? You got to put in the work to create new habits. So this isn't about a quick fix. It's about retraining your mind to unwind effectively.
You got it. So are you ready to dive into the heart of the article? It gives us 9 specific meditation techniques for better sleep. Think of it like a tasting menu for your mind.
Ooh, a tasting menu. I'm in. So where should we start?
Well, how about we kick things off with mindful breathing meditation? It might sound simple, almost too good to be true, but don't underestimate its power.
Mindful breathing. I gotta admit, that does sound almost too easy. It doesn't really work that well.
Well, the idea is that by zeroing in on the feeling of your breath, you're gently pulling your attention away from those thoughts that are ping-ponging around in your head. And that helps slow down your nervous system, and it can even help trigger the release of those sleep-inducing hormones we were talking about.
So it's like you're giving your mind a focal point, something to latch onto instead of getting lost in the worry spiral.
You got it.
Yeah.
And the article even mentions that this technique can be really helpful if you wake up in the middle of the night. You can use mindful breathing to ease yourself back to sleep.
That's awesome. One technique for both falling asleep and getting back to sleep, that's a win-win in my book. Okay, so what's next on our meditation menu?
All right, how about we try body scan meditation? This one is all about shifting your attention to different parts of your body, like systematically scanning from head to toe or toe to head, whichever you prefer.
Interesting. So instead of focusing on your breath, you're tuning into physical sensations. What's the benefit of that?
Well, it's a really great way to release tension you might be holding in your body without even realizing it. The article specifically recommends starting with your pinky toe and then slowly moving your awareness upwards, kind of like appreciating each part of your body as you go.
Wow, appreciating every single part. Now that's attention to detail. It's like giving yourself a mental massage.
Right. And the key here is to be totally non-judgmental. No criticizing your body, just pure acceptance and appreciation.
That's a great reminder, especially before bed when, let's be honest, our minds can be pretty harsh.
Okay, ready for the next meditation technique?
Kidding me with it.
All right, up next is musical meditation. So if you've had a particularly rough day, this one might be right up your alley. Instead of focusing on your breath or body, you simply let the music wash over you and soothe your mind.
Oh, I love listening to music before bed. But how is this different from just putting on some chill tunes? Is there a specific type of music you're supposed to use?
The key here is to really pay attention to the music. Let each note resonate within you. And don't be afraid to experiment. Tibetan chants, psychedelic synth music, even Hawaiian music. The article mentions all kinds of possibilities.
Wait, hold up. Hawaiian music for meditation? Okay, now I'm intrigued. But I love the idea of finding your own sleep soundtrack.
Exactly. And it's totally normal for your mind to wander. When it does, just gently guide it back to the music. It's all about creating a peaceful sonic environment for your mind to rest in.
Okay, this is sounding better and better. What's next on our list?
Let's explore loving kindness meditation. Now this one, it can be a bit more challenging, but also incredibly rewarding.
Challenging in what way?
Well, it involves cultivating feelings of compassion and kindness, not just for yourself and people you love, but also for people you might have conflict with. Yeah, no, what tricky right before bed.
Ooh, that sounds tough. Especially when you're trying to wind down. Why would you do this before bed?
The article suggests that nighttime can be particularly tough if you're dealing with, any interpersonal conflicts. Your mind tends to replay those negative thoughts and feelings, which makes it really hard to relax.
It's so true. Your inner critic has a way of turning up the volume as soon as the lights go out.
Exactly. And loving kindness meditation can really help you counteract those negative thoughts by actively cultivating compassion. It's about recognizing that everyone is fighting their own battles and sending them positive energy, even if you don't see eye to eye.
That's such a powerful shift in perspective. It's like taking the high road, even if it's just in your own mind.
And the article really emphasizes that reaching that level of genuine compassion, not just saying the words, but really feeling it, can bring such a deep sense of peace. It helps you let go of some of those status fears and resentments that can keep you up at night.
It makes sense. It's like actively choosing to release those negative emotions instead of letting them fester.
Okay, I'm definitely interested. How does this meditation actually work? So you start by centering yourself with a few deep breaths. And then you ask your higher self, or whatever guiding force resonates with you, to surround you with positive energy.
Okay, calling in the good vibes.
Exactly. And once you feel that positive energy, you start sending it outwards. First to someone you love, then to someone neutral, and finally to someone you've been having a hard time with.
Wow. That's quite a practice. It's like you're actively training your mind to be more compassionate, even when it's difficult.
And the article highlights that, there's a difference between performative compassion and genuine compassion. Loving kindness meditation is about moving beyond just saying the words and really cultivating that authentic feeling of kindness and understanding.
I can see how that would be a game changer, not just for sleep, but for how you approach life in general. Okay, what's next on our list of bedtime meditations?
Let's move on to breathing symphony. It might sound a little intimidating, but really it's just a simple counting exercise, something that occupies your mind without needing a ton of mental effort.
Okay, I'm all for simple and effective. So how does it work?
You just find a comfortable breathing rhythm and stick with it. The article suggests inhaling for a count of 3, holding for 3, and exhaling for 3. And you just repeat that, focusing on the count and how your breath feels.
So it's like creating a rhythmic flow for your breath. Sounds pretty soothing.
Exactly. And there's no need to, force yourself to take super deep breaths or anything. Just find a depth that feels natural and comfortable.
Awesome. Beginner friendly and no complicated breathing techniques. Love it. What's next?
All right, now we're getting into some more advanced territory with visualization meditation. But it has the potential to be really powerful.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of visualization. It's about picturing your goals as if they've already happened.
Right, that's part of it, but it's not just about goals. It's about using your imagination to create a truly immersive experience in your mind. Like you're creating your own little mental movie, engaging all your senses.
Okay, that sounds fun. But how does creating a mental movie help you sleep?
Well, when you're fully absorbed in a vivid visualization, your attention naturally shifts away from your worries and anxieties. You're giving your mind something positive and engaging to focus on.
So it's like consciously replacing those negative thought loops with something more enjoyable and calming.
Exactly. And the article makes a good point, too. Your visualization doesn't have to be super clear or perfect. Some people visualize more in words or feelings or even abstract ideas. It's about finding what works for you.
So you're tapping into your own unique way of imagining. I like that it can be adapted to different learning styles, but I'm guessing this one takes some practice.
It can. You need to be able to focus and hold that mental image for a while. So it might not be the easiest technique to start with, but the benefits could be worth it.
Totally. Okay, what's up next?
All right, now we've got self-compassion meditation. And this one is all about facing those difficult emotions that often keep us up at night. Frustration, anger, guilt, worry, you name it.
Self-compassion. Now that's something I think we could all use a little more of. So how does it work as a meditation technique, especially before bed?
You know, the article makes a really good point that those negative thoughts and self-criticisms, they often get louder when we're alone with our thoughts at night.
Oh, it's so true. Like our inner critic saves all the worst jabs for bedtime.
Exactly. And self-compassion meditation isn't about ignoring those thoughts and emotions. It's about facing them with kindness and understanding.
So instead of trying to suppress them, you're actually leaning into them, but from a place of compassion.
Exactly. And the article mentions how challenging this can be because our instinct is often to run away from uncomfortable emotions. But with self-compassion meditation, you're learning to just sit with those feelings, acknowledge them without judgment.
That sounds really powerful, but also kind of intimidating. Any guidance on how to actually do that?
The key, according to the article, is to be willing to look at your flaws and mistakes without beating yourself up about them. You know, everyone makes mistakes. It's about offering yourself the same kindness and forgiveness you would offer a friend.
I love that. It's like extending that loving kindness we practiced earlier towards ourselves.
And this can lead to some real growth and self-awareness, moving from that harsh self-criticism to self-acceptance.
Okay, I can definitely see how that would be super freeing, especially when you're trying to fall asleep and those negative thoughts are spiraling. Okay, what's next on the list?
All right, let's talk about manifestation meditation, probably the most fun and exciting technique on the list.
Ooh, manifestation. I've been hearing a lot about that lately. So it's about visualizing your dream life and making it a reality, right?
That's the basic idea. Manifestation meditation is about using the power of your imagination to create this clear vision of what you want your life to be like, your goals, your desires, all of it.
Sounds amazing. So how does this tie into sleep? Is it just about dreaming your way to a better life?
It's a bit more active than just dreaming. While it definitely involves dreaming big, it's about consciously aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the things you want to create.
So it's not just wishing. It's about actually taking steps toward your goals with that focused intention.
Right. And the article suggests that this type of meditation can help ease worry and stress by shifting your focus from what you lack to what you want to create.
Okay, I like that shift in perspective. Choosing to focus on possibility instead of scarcity.
Exactly. And the act of visualizing your ideal life often brings up feelings of joy, gratitude, excitement, and those emotions can be really calming and uplifting before bed.
This one is definitely calling my name. Tell me more about how it works in practice.
Well, there are different ways to do it, but generally, you find a comfortable position, close your eyes, and focus on your breath to center yourself.
Okay, so you start with that same grounding technique we've seen with the other meditations?
Exactly. And once you feel settled and present, you start to visualize your ideal life. Imagine achieving your goals, experiencing all the things you want, living the life you truly desire.
So painting a vivid picture in your mind, using all your senses to make it feel real.
That's right. And the key is to engage with those positive emotions. The joy, the gratitude, the excitement. Feel them as if it's all happening right now.
Okay, that's an amazing way to end the day, feeling inspired and connected to your dreams. All right, what's the last meditation technique on our list?
We've got connection meditation, which is all about cultivating a sense of oneness with the universe, that feeling of interconnectedness with something bigger than yourself.
That sounds pretty profound. How do you even go about connecting with the universe, especially before bed?
The article describes it as similar to mindful breathing, but instead of only focusing on your breath, you're expanding your awareness to include that sense of universal connection.
So shifting your perspective from me to we, recognizing that you're a part of something much larger and more expansive.
Exactly. And the article suggests that tapping into this sense of connection can bring a deep sense of peace and belonging. It can help you feel grounded and supported, less overwhelmed by the everyday stuff.
I can see how that would be super calming before bed, like surrendering your worries to a higher power, trusting that you're not alone in facing life's challenges.
And the article mentions that connection meditation is pretty simple to do, but challenging to master. It requires a subtle shift in awareness and a willingness to let go of your ego's need to be in control.
So it's about surrendering to something bigger than yourself, which can be both freeing and, a little bit scary.
Exactly. And their article concludes by saying that cultivating this sense of connection, it can have ripple effects beyond your bedtime routine, even influencing how you experience the world and interact with other people. It encourages approaching life with more openness, curiosity, and compassion.
Wow, that's beautiful. It's like you're tapping into a source of wisdom and strength that goes beyond your individual self.
Precisely. And like with all of these techniques, the article really emphasizes that consistency is key. The more you practice, the easier it becomes to access those states of calm, peace, and connection.
So it's like building a muscle, but for your mind. The more you work it, the stronger it gets.
You got it. And as you experiment with these different techniques, you'll find which ones resonate most with you, which ones best support your sleep goals.
Okay, we've covered so much. The science of sleep and meditation, the importance of good sleep hygiene, and 9 different meditation techniques. It's like we've got this whole toolkit now for better sleep.
We do, and the key takeaway is there's no one right way to do this. It's all about finding what works for you and making it part of your routine.
I love that. It's empowering to know we have so many options and we can customize our approach to what feels best.
Before we wrap up this part, I have a question for you. The article is all about bedtime meditation, but we know meditation has benefits beyond just sleep, right?
Oh, totally. Stress management, focus, regulating emotions, even physical health. The list goes on and on.
Right. So here's something to think about. What might happen if you carried that calm and presence you cultivate during meditation into your waking hours?
That's a great question. It's like taking that peace and clarity from meditation and letting it flow into your daily life.
Exactly. Just imagine approaching everything, your work, your relationships, even the mundane stuff, with that same mindfulness and intention you practice during meditation. What kind of impact could that have?
I think it would be huge. Like, it's shifting from being reactive to being responsive.
Yeah.
Instead of constantly reacting to everything, you're choosing to pause, breathe, and act with more awareness.
And that shift can have a ripple effect. It impacts not only your well-being, but also the energy you bring to your interactions with everyone around you.
It's beautiful, like taking the peace you cultivate and sharing it outward, creating a more peaceful and harmonious environment for everyone.
Exactly. And it all starts with that commitment to nurturing inner peace through practices like meditation.
Absolutely. It's a reminder that even small, consistent actions can make a huge difference in our lives and the world around us.
Well said. And I think it's time to wrap up this part of our deep dive into bedtime meditations.
Agreed. We've covered so much amazing info, and I hope you feel inspired to start incorporating meditation into your own life.
Me too. The key is finding what works for you and making it a habit.
And don't be afraid to try different techniques. There's a whole world of meditation out there. There's something for everyone.
Definitely.
Sweet dreams, everyone.
And happy meditating. We'll be back soon for part 2 of this deep dive. It's amazing how connected everything is, our inner world with the outer world. And speaking of connections, we were just about to explore that last meditation on our list.
Oh, you're right. We left off on connection meditation. I'm so curious about this whole idea of cultivating this sense of oneness with the universe.
It does feel almost like a superpower, right?
It totally does.
So the article describes it as like an extension of mindful breathing. You're still paying attention to your breath, but you're kind of expanding your awareness outward to the sense of being part of something much bigger.
So not disconnecting from your physical self, but actually connecting to something larger, something beyond yourself.
Exactly. And the idea is that by tapping into that feeling of interconnectedness, you can cultivate a really deep sense of peace and belonging. The kind that helps you feel grounded and supported, even when everything around you feels kind of chaotic.
Yeah, that's such a powerful image, finding peace and stability through connection, especially when we're constantly bombarded with so much stress and distraction.
That's exactly where the challenge comes in, right? So the article mentions that connection meditation is fairly simple to actually do, but mastering it, that requires a real shift in awareness. It's about letting go of that ego's need to be separate, to be in control.
It's like surrendering to something bigger than yourself, which can be both exhilarating and also a little scary, I imagine.
Exactly. But the potential reward is huge. It's like tapping into this wellspring of wisdom and strength that goes beyond just you.
So we've explored 9 different meditation techniques, each with its own unique approach and flavor. And what I'm hearing is that there's no one right way to meditate. It's about finding what works for you and fits into your life.
You nailed it. And the article really hammers home that consistency is so important. The more you practice these techniques, the easier it will become to access those states of peace and calm, not just at bedtime, but maybe even throughout your day.
It's like building that meditation muscle.
Right. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And speaking of carrying that calm into our daily lives, I think you had a really interesting question for our listeners, right?
I did. So we've been talking a lot about how meditation can help with sleep, but meditation has all these other benefits too. What if you brought that same sense of mindfulness, that presence you cultivate during meditation, into your daily life? How would you approach your work, your relationships, even those mundane tasks with that same calm awareness?
That's such a cool challenge. I think it would be revolutionary. It's like shifting from that mode of always reacting to everything to a place of thoughtful response. Instead of getting swept away by the chaos, you're creating space to pause, to breathe, and to respond intentionally.
That makes so much sense. And that shift, it has ripple effects, doesn't it? Not only do you benefit from that greater sense of peace and well-being, but that energy impacts how you interact with everyone around you.
Exactly. It's like taking that peace you cultivate within yourself and radiating it outward, creating a more harmonious environment.
I love that.
And it all begins with that commitment to nurturing inner peace, through practices like meditation.
All right, so to recap what we've covered so far, the science behind how meditation can boost sleep quality, why good sleep hygiene is so important, and then all these different techniques you can try. I think what's so great about this deep dive is that it leaves you feeling empowered. Like you have all these tools now and you get to experiment and find what works best for you.
You got it. And remember, there will be nights when your mind is racing, sleep feels impossible. It happens to all of us. Just be kind to yourself and gently bring your mind back to that calm space.
That's so important. It's not about being perfect. It's about showing up and doing your best. What are some of the key takeaways you think our listeners should remember from this deep dive?
Well, first and foremost, don't be afraid to experiment. Try all the different techniques, find what clicks for you, what feels good, and then make it a regular habit. Even just a few minutes every day can make a big difference.
That's great advice. It's all about consistency, but also about finding a practice that you enjoy, something that feels sustainable.
Exactly. It shouldn't feel like a chore. And remember, meditation is a skill, just like anything else. It takes time and patience to cultivate. Be kind to yourself throughout the process. Celebrate those small wins.
It's a journey, not a race. And I think the rewards are worth the effort.
For sure. And if you're struggling or feel like you need some guidance, don't hesitate to reach out to a meditation teacher, find some resources that resonate with you. There's a whole world of support out there.
That's great advice. So many amazing teachers and resources to help you on your path.
Okay, so to wrap up this part of our deep dive into bedtime meditation.
I think we've covered so much great information. Hope our listeners are feeling inspired and ready to create a sleep routine that really works for them.
Sweet dreams.
And happy meditating. We'll be back soon with part 3 of this deep dive. All right, welcome back to our deep dive on bedtime meditations. We've covered so much already, the science, the techniques, so much good stuff. Now, I thought we could shift gears a bit and talk about actually bringing these practices into your life. What do you think?
Yeah, love that. Putting this knowledge into action, that's where the real transformation happens.
Totally. So one thing I hear a lot from people who are new to meditation is this fear of doing it wrong. Like they're a bit intimidated, not sure if they're getting it right. Any advice for someone who's feeling that way?
Oh, I totally get that. It's so common. But here's the thing. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. It's not about achieving this perfect state of stillness or like totally emptying your mind. It's really more about cultivating awareness. And when your mind inevitably wanders, just gently bringing it back to your breath or your body or whatever your focus is.
It's about the journey, not the destination.
Exactly. And another thing that's super important to remember is everyone's experience with meditation is going to be different. What works for one person might not work for another, and that's totally okay. The key is to try different things and see what clicks for you.
It's like a journey of self-discovery, finding what feels right for you. Speaking of journeys, what are some of the bumps in the road people might encounter as they start meditating?
Well, one of the most common challenges is distractions. All those thoughts popping up or outside noises messing with your focus. It can be really frustrating.
Ugh, distractions, they're the worst. Any tips for dealing with them?
First, just acknowledge that distractions are totally normal. It's going to happen. Don't get down on yourself when your mind wanders. Just gently notice it and bring your attention back to your breath, your body, or your mantra, whatever your anchor is. Just redirect, like you're training a puppy.
I love that analogy. Just gently redirecting your attention. No judgment.
Exactly. And over time, with practice, you'll get better and better at focusing and sustaining that attention.
It's like building that mental muscle.
Okay, another challenge I hear a lot is this feeling of restlessness or impatience during meditation.
Ooh, yeah, I've been there. Especially when I'm stressed, sitting still feels like the last thing I want to do.
I hear you. But ironically, those are often the times when you need meditation the most. If you find yourself feeling restless, try to approach those feelings with curiosity, not resistance.
Okay, so instead of pushing them away, I should lean in and explore them.
Exactly. Ask yourself, what's causing this? Where am I feeling it in my body?
It's like you're becoming an observer of your own experience.
Exactly. And often just acknowledging those feelings can help them to, dissolve. You can also try incorporating some gentle movement into your meditation if sitting still feels too intense.
That's a great idea. Sometimes you just got to move your body.
Okay, one practical question I get a lot is, how long should I meditate for? Especially for beginners, what's a realistic goal?
Yeah, I can see how that can feel intimidating. Like, oh my gosh, I have to sit here for an hour.
Totally. But the good news is you don't have to meditate for a long time to get benefits. Even a few minutes a day can make a difference. Start small, maybe 5 or 10 minutes, and you can gradually increase the time as you feel comfortable.
So it's about finding a rhythm that feels sustainable for you.
Exactly. And consistency trumps duration. It's better to meditate for a short time every day than to try and squeeze in a long session once a week.
Make it a habit, like brushing your teeth. Okay, so we've talked about distractions, restlessness, finding the right amount of time. What other advice would you give to someone who's just starting their meditation journey?
Well, creating a supportive environment can make a big difference. Find a time and place where you can minimize interruptions. Turn off your phone, dim the lights, find a quiet spot where you can relax.
It's like building a little sanctuary for yourself, away from the noise of the world.
Exactly. And there are so many great resources out there now. Guided meditations, apps. Experiment and find teachers or styles that resonate with you.
It's like having your own personal meditation coach right in your pocket.
And lastly, just remember to be patient. Meditation, like any new skill, takes time and practice. Don't get discouraged if your mind wanders or you don't feel results right away. Just keep showing up, keep practicing, and trust the process.
It's a journey, not a sprint. And I think the rewards are well worth it.
They are. And I think that brings us to the end of our deep dive into bedtime meditations.
Wow, we covered so much ground. I hope you're feeling inspired and ready to create a sleep routine that truly supports you. Sweet dreams, everyone.
And happy meditating.